Hey there, Alex here. Today I have with me the new NICEHCK DB1, a new pair of budget-friendly single DD IEMs. They cost around 17 Singapore dollars, which is a very competitive price bracket these days. So let's dive right in and see if they're any good. The DB1 comes with a nice anime waifu on the box, which is why I bought them in the first place. There isn't really much else in the box, which isn't a huge surprise since these are so cheap to begin with. But the cable is actually quite decent. It's plain and simple looking, but feels quite soft and is easy to work with. The shell design is actually what caught my attention when they first came out. I really like the colors they chose, and the pattern on the faceplate looks stylish. I feel like they even took extra care to make sure that the wires inside looked good, which is attention to detail that you don't usually see on earphones this cheap. However, I think the included ear tips are not great. Due to perhaps the slightly shorter nozzle, I had to use the largest tips to get a better fit. Alternatively, I find that Sony MH755 ear tips worked well for these, and they can help boost the bass a little as well. Moving on to how they sound, these are just slightly north of neutral when it comes to bass quantity, so they're definitely not for bass heads, but they do have a decent reach into the sub-bass region and they sound tight and well controlled. Mids have an okay amount of presence in the mix and are slightly on the thinner and airier side of things. While I usually like having a bit more body in the mids, I think this is kinda nice in its own way too. Maybe it's because of the better than average detail retrieval, or maybe it's how the upper mids have been tuned here, with the more rounded peaks at around 3 and 4 kHz before dropping off a bit, but it doesn't sound too distant or hollow, so it actually sounds nice in its own way, and it's just shy of being shouty for my ears. There's a nice amount of treble too, so cymbals have a more natural decay, and it's just a bit airier sounding overall without being too sibilant. I think if your listening volume is higher, it might get a tiny bit fatiguing, but this is a tuning that works well at lower volumes, so I didn't have any issues with it. Technical performance punches above its price bracket for me. Detail retrieval, imaging and separation are all above average. Soundstage is not amazing, but still pretty decent. Apart from being a bit brighter sounding, tonality and timbre are actually pretty good. I think the most apt comparison is probably against the Moondrop Quarks, which cost around the same. They're both not the most bass heavy, but I find the quality of the bass better on the DB1. The Quarks do have a bit more warmth here, which helps the lower mids sound a little fuller, but the sharper peak at 3 kHz on the Quarks also makes it a bit shouty for me. So the DB1 ends up being nicer to listen to. Treble is also better extended, which gives the DB1 a clearer and airier presentation overall. Technical performance is better on the DB1 as well. Overall, I think the DB1 is great value for money, and probably one of my new favorite budget IEMs, and it really is budget friendly since it sounds great even through a regular dongle or a phone. I like it more than the Quarks, and more than a lot of the budget IEMs that I've tried so far, even IEMs that are slightly more expensive. Compared to the more common V-shaped or warmer tuning, I think the DB1 has a slightly brighter tuning that is done right. Technical performance punches above its price bracket as well. If you're looking for something with more bass or warmer sounding, there are better options for sure. But if you're looking for something with a bit more clarity and a little brighter, something that would work well at lower volumes, the DB1 is a pretty great option. Thanks for watching this video, and see you guys on the next one.